Hi everybody. That was a quick review that I just provided about functions, formula, syntax, and how the formula builder works. And now what we're going to do is get into some of the potentially handy time-saving and math error-saving functions as well, as we start wrapping up our work on badge number 3. Okay, now first look up here on the Excel spreadsheet. You see up here, and you can see, as I used the other day, this is some raw data that I borrowed from one of our earlier videos. Now, on line 3, I want to point that out to you. Line 3, which is highlighted in yellow, let me give you the full view here, okay? There we are. What I've done is, on row 3, line 3, I typed in the type of formatting that I've applied to these columns. Now, we've already learned that we can provide formatting instructions to Excel in a wide variety of ways and using a wide variety of techniques. So I want to spend a moment here on the type of formatting specifically to these columns, because in a few minutes we're going to perform a function on those, okay? Now you'll notice that in some columns I've typed text, okay? In some values, also known as numbers, and in some date, okay? Now what I did is I just typed the information into those columns, but then I did something else. I forced those columns, most of them anyway, to have a specific type of formatting. Okay? Now you already know that if you just start typing into an Excel cell location, if you just start typing letters, it's going to assume that it's text. If you start typing in numbers or a formula, it's going to assume it's a value. Okay, but the formatting is still what Excel calls general. It's giving what it feels is the best fit. You, however, have control over that. Okay? So I've forced these contents, as you can see on line 3, to have these specific formats. And how do I verify that? Well, I want to point out to you in the middle of the ribbon. Okay, go up to the ribbon. Right under where in the green area it says badge 3 file 16. Okay, look down. You see a white bar there and it says general. Now that's your formatting instruction area. Okay, so right now it says general. I've just highlighted it for you. Okay, I want you to keep your eyes on that as we go through the next several exercises. What I want you to do is click on a cell in any column, all right? And the formatting for that particular cell, the ones that I forced, will appear. Okay, now let's look at column B because I indicated that that one is text. Okay, I'm going to click on, let's say, B7, all right, Ms. Archibald's name. Now you'll notice in the little formatting bar, way up in the center of the ribbon, it says text. It doesn't say general anymore. Why? Because I told Excel to take column B and make it text. It's expecting that anything in that column will be text. I did the same thing for column C and for column D. So whenever you click in any area of that column, those columns, you should see the word text. Okay? Remember, it might still say general if I had not done that formatting specifically, but now what I'm doing is I'm forcing it to have a text formatting. Okay, and that will become very obvious as to why I did that in a few moments. Okay, what did I do? I took those 4 columns, highlighting them, left dragging just like that, and I came up here. Now I'm going to click in that formatting zone. It says general. Now I'm going to look at the drop down, that little arrow on the far right. Okay, I came over here and see where it says general number, currency, accounting. Okay. Those are some of the more popular number formats. I'm going down to where it says text. I'm clicking on that one. And that very simply, ladies and gentlemen, is how I got text formatting to appear in those columns and also be indicated in that formatting box in the middle of the ribbon where it now says text. All right. I forced everything. Now let's look at column G. Let's jump over to salary. I forced everything in that column to have number formatting. Okay? I could have just typed numbers, but I specifically said also I want to choose number formatting for column G. I highlighted the column, I clicked on the formatting box, the drop down, and selected number. Okay? Now, when you do that, something weird just happened. Okay? It assumes that I don't want commas, and it assumes that I want pennies, 2 decimal places. I do not. Okay? So I'm just going to arrow back out of that. I'm going to back out of it and put it back the way it is. I could have changed that also by typing in the formatting instruction, as we learned way back in badge number 1, when we tell Excel what we want our cell contents to look like. Okay? Rather than make you wait through that, because that would simply be more review, I just arrowed back out of that one. Okay. Let me see. Now I punched a bunch of numbers into column F, but I did not format it. I just went down and typed in 1, 3, 5, 4, as you can see here. But you'll notice it still says general, okay? So I'm going to show you how to force them to be number formatting. I'm going to highlight F by left-clicking on the letter F up in the line that indicates which column we are dealing with. I could also have held my left button and scrolled like you see there. Let's do that, okay? I'm going to highlight everything. Now watch, I come back up to that little formatting instruction where it says general, okay? I'm going to click the drop down. I'm going to click number, okay? Once again, it assumes I want decimals. I do not want decimals. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to that little area under where it says number in the formatting box, and I'm just going to use that button under the drop down in the formatting box. You're familiar with that already. That is how we remove decimal places. Now, when I put that cursor anywhere in column F, you can see that it now says number. It no longer says general. Okay? It's that easy, ladies and gentlemen. Now, finally, let's look at column H, because this is really the subject I'm hoping to get to now that we've done a preliminary review of some of our simpler functions. Okay? Column H, this is the date of hire of those individuals. Okay, now you can see that those are formatted as dates. Look at that formatting box. Okay? A lot of times when you start entering a date, just like entering 12/15/2018, okay, a lot of times Excel will know it's a date. What I did, however, is I said, I want this column, anything in this column, to have date formatting. Okay? I shouldn't say everything in the column because the title lines are still general, but anything from this cell, which is H6 on, you'll notice has date formatting. Now I remind you that date formatting has a number of ways it can look. It can look like it does here. This is my preference, showing the month, the days, and the year with two decimal places, with 2 digits for the year. You can do it with 4 digits for the year. You can make it spell out. In this case, for example, October 31st, 1998. There are many ways you can express it. You can express it in European fashion, like 31 October 98. So you have choices over that, and we saw how to do that back when I right-click and come down to Format Cells. We learned how to do this a long time ago. Okay, there's my date formatting. Here, ladies and gentlemen, are some of your choices. We have done that before. Okay? So because we're going to be performing operations on those dates, I'm going to leave the appearances just like that. You know how to change them if you wish. All right. So now here's the important thing to remember. This is going to be the pivot point of our upcoming, the remainder of this lecture and our next upcoming lecture possibly, if I don't have time to finish this time, is going to be that we can perform operations on dates. There are many operations that you can perform on dates. You can get lists of those from me. You can get them from online Excel resources if you wish. There are plenty of great free resources. I'm kind of partial to one that's called exceljet.net, exceljet.net. This is a husband and wife couple that has done an amazing job of putting Excel resources together. I highly recommend them. Okay? And most of the resources, as far as I can see, are not only excellent, but they are indeed free. Now, I want you to remember that dates, from Excel's point of view, and basically in most computer programs' points of view, are stored as numbers. Okay, we call them serial numbers. So when you see a date, that date is appearing like we make it look, like up here, 2591. But to the computer, that's actually a number. It is a serial number. The serial numbers all start in the year 1900, January 1st, 1900. That would be date number 1. Okay? Now, why do we do that? Why do computers do it? Well, the reason they do it primarily is so that you can perform operations on those dates. It's easy to perform operations on a number, so by expressing a date as a number, it makes the computer, it allows the computer, I should say, to give you all kinds of power about performing some of those operations. So please remember that. A date is stored as a serial number. Okay? All right, very good. Now you might say, well, I could always enter dates as text. No, you don't want to do that, because now if you enter dates as text, you cannot perform operations on those dates. Let's say today is the 12th of August, 2018, and I want to know how many days have elapsed so far this year from January 1st to 2018. The fact that those two dates are stored as serial numbers allows me to do one simple subtraction, subtract the old date from the new date, or as they call it, subtract the start date from the end date if you're looking at Excel syntax in the formula builder, okay? And it will return the number of days elapsed so far, all right? So now here's what we're going to do. Since our dates start, since computer dates start in on January 1st of 1900, let's actually type that in, 1/1/1900, okay? All right. Now you'll notice it is stored automatically as a number, all right? It's number 1, it's the serial number 1, all right? If I want that to look like an actual date, I can come up to my formatting box, click in it, click the drop down, select, I'm going to select short date, okay? And there it is. That is January 1st of 1900. Be careful, that's not the year 2000, okay? That is serial number 1. All right. So now, today is August 12th. Let's type that in instead. All right. I'm going to back out of what I just did because I want you to see the serial numbers. So let's keep our cursor right there in cell J17. I'm going to type 812. Sorry about that. 81218. All right. It comes up as 43,324. Friends, that means that 43,324 days have passed since January 1st of 1900. Okay? If you really would like to prove that to yourself, try it. Okay? Take 365 days times 118 years, right? 1900 until 2018. Okay? Now that's not good enough. Why? Because of that crazy little thing called leap year. Every 4 years there's an extra day, February 29th, right? So there have been 26 of those last century, and there have been 4 of them this century, 2004, 2008, 2012, 2016. So take 365 times 118 years, add 26 more days for the leap years last century, 4 more days for leap years this century, and I think you're going to find that you hit that number, ladies and gentlemen, 43,324. Okay? All right, I'm going to pause right there, and I'll pick it up from that point when we resume. So stand by for the next lecture, please.